Everyone, welcome to another edition of CEO Wisdom Podcast. Today with us, we have Chris DuBois. He is CEO at Lean Labs, has a very cool background. Chris, tell us a bit more about yourself and about Lean Labs.
Sure. Hey, Charles. So I am CEO of Lean Labs. I just took over this role about a month ago. Before I was a growth marketer and head of operations here. But we build websites and provide growth marketing services as a hybrid growth team. So model's a bit different than normal like agencies. But we're doing that for tech and SaaS brands and having a lot of fun doing it.
Cool. Tell us about your background in the U.S. Army.
Yeah. So I went to college for English and then decided I was going to put it to use. And so I joined the Army and actually didn't use it whatsoever. But I was an infantry officer for 7 years active duty. And I've been in the reserves for 3 years now. So I get to live all around the United States, see some cool places, get some cool training. And honestly, that led to me getting hired at Lean Labs. And so ultimately getting me to where I am now. So that's kind of cool.
I guess Army, to me, like if I had to restart at life, I'd take two paths. Either I'd be in the special forces or I'd be a professional athlete. I think that would give me a greater chance at life. Granted that being in the Army would teach me discipline early in my life because I didn't know much about discipline except for doing martial arts starting at age 17 and doing a bunch of other sports. What did the Army teach you apart from discipline? Did you get any leadership lesson in there? Because you manage a lot of stuff from me reading your LinkedIn here.
Yeah. So I would say the real benefit of doing the military thing, like you get to do a lot of cool stuff, right? Jumping out of airplanes, all the blowing things up, that's fun. But it's really the mindset that you get coming out of that. And so, for instance, getting hired at Lean Labs, like Kevin, our founder, hired me purely because he knew I can solve problems. Like I had no marketing experience, but I've figured it out since then. But like while in the Army, so I was an officer in the infantry, so like 22, fresh out of college, I had 36 men and $13.8 million worth of equipment. It's like, hey, you're responsible for this, go. And so pretty quickly you have to be able to take responsibility and figure out what am I actually doing here. And so your mindset is never, you're always like looking forward, right? Saying like, what's the next thing? What do I need to do here to be successful? And while you're still taking care of people the entire time. And so even, my last job in the Army, we had 1,000 something people that I was like second in command for. And, that responsibility and just all the things you have to pay attention to and all of this stuff. I think that's really what sets you up for success.
So
really anywhere else.
Caught my attention in your LinkedIn, sexual assault officer. What is that exactly?
Oh, man, I got tasked with a bunch of, so you get your regular jobs, right? So as a platoon leader, as an executive officer, but then you got these other like additional duties. And I just happened to be the new guy. And so they piled all of these additional duties on me. So like the chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear officer. So like I knew if we had an issue with, I don't know, someone dropping a nuke, I could help somehow. I would just tell people to put their heads under desks. But like, yeah, sexual assault officer, like or prevention officer, stuff like that. It's all stuff just to help the unit with making sure we're meeting all of our requirements. And then if soldiers had any issues, they could come to me for help with those.
So how come did you get so many promotions in the Army? Because I don't think it's a path of most folks. Did you search for these opportunities, for these promotions? What was your mindset back then?
Yeah, so as an officer in the U.S. Army, you're kind of on a timeline where as long as you don't really like screw up certain things and you hit certain timelines, you're going to get promoted. I did get promoted a year early to major, which was a nice little perk. But really, it's just, I did well on all my evaluations. And I think it's because I wasn't focused on how do I set myself apart and put myself on the next level. Instead, I was thinking, how can I help the team that I have now, help the people to my left and right? So rather than thinking of everything as a competition, I was viewing it as, hey, we're all going to go, to war together. How do I help everyone get better here? And so every evaluation I had was really like, hey, your teamwork and like your commitment to helping the team grow is really what we want. And so that kept giving me better positions as I kept stepping up. And so even when I was a captain, I was filling roles for majors. And I think that's what kind of led to like an early promotion here. So,
And what was leading for effect?
yeah, so that's still exists. It's a leadership consulting firm, I guess I have. I do it kind of on the side, so I only have a handful of clients at a time. But really just working with business leaders, trying to pass on a lot of the knowledge and frameworks that I used within the military to help people just achieve more in their leadership roles.
Very cool. Have you ever thought to apply for the SEALs?
No, I don't do a swimming. So I had put in a packet for to go special forces.
Yeah.
And to save you like the story, it's a long process. You have to create this file and get everything, set up. I passed that portion. And then the date they gave me to go to selection was like a year and a half away. And just timeline wise with my family wasn't going to work out. And so I pulled the plug on that one, but no, Navy SEALs, no.
That's not the same divisions either. You need to restart from scratch almost. I'm curious, you're still young and you have these leadership principles deep in you, and obviously you're also a parent. So how did you acquire these skills? Was it something that you had from birth? What was it something that you learned from mentors and audiobooks? How did that got in you in the first place?
So my parents probably set me up for success on a lot of this. At this point, they're both at like the top of their careers. Like my mother was a teacher my entire life. She's principal of her school now. My father was a cop. He's a chief of police now. And I don't know that I ever like committed myself to learning about leadership until I was actually in the positions. And then it was really as a platoon leader where the company I was in, I was with a bunch of great guys. Like we still keep in touch. I got a text thread that's, saved at the top of my iPhone so that I can quickly get in touch with these guys. All of them were just rock stars. And I was trying to look for like, why are we so much better than everyone else? That sounds super egotistical. I promise it's not. But just like, what are we doing that everyone else isn't, that's allowing us to achieve these results? And so I started actually thinking about leadership, and I had a bunch of leaders above me who, like colonels and majors who I could just sit down and have conversations with them. And we talked about these types of things. And so I started to codify it and just put it into like frameworks, right? All right, I'm getting a new soldier in. How can I quickly bring him into the unit, get him trained up, know his personality enough that I can fit him where I need to? Like, what would that look like if I had to teach someone else to do the same thing? And so I just started capturing all those ideas, and it's working out.
Pretty cool. What parallels can you draw between the Army parenting and leading lead labs in terms of leadership?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it, that's a good question. I'd say a lot of it comes down to just being the guy people can come to when they need something, but giving them the resources to figure it out themselves. And I'm very, very big on mentoring more. So there's two concepts, right? You can be the superhero or you can be the mentor. And sometimes you got to be the superhero. You got to jump in, you got to help people with something so that they can see it's possible. Other times you just got to sit back and be like, nah, figure this out for yourself. And then you find this balance where can I jump in, be the superhero so they see it's possible. And the next time this happens, I can be like, hey, remember, you saw me do this. Like, you know how to do this. And now you can help that person grow. And once they start growing, they're doing the same thing for everybody else with them. So like I can see it right now in my oldest daughter. I have two daughters, 8 and 5. My oldest daughter does it with my younger daughter, where she'll like mentor her because of things that she's done. And I've never taught that to her. It's just like, that's what she's witnessed. So she's seeing it. But even at Lean Labs, we went on a kind of a hiring spree this year. We brought on, we're 23 team members now. And I think we've hired 5 this year, 5 or 6. And older teammates, from last year before and stuff, are quickly just falling into mentorship roles and helping everyone grow without being asked. They know it's what needs to happen in order for everyone to grow. And so instilling that mindset and then being the one who can help kind of facilitate that is, what's happening. I hope it's what's happening.
Very good answer. Yeah, it was very good. Challenging question. You were almost 4 years head of operation at Lean Labs. To me, one of the most fascinating position in any companies is head of ops slash COO slash anything you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's literally my right hand man in the business, and the second in command, kind of. So there's still a huge step for me to promote that CEO to CEO. Most CEOs are selling, right? They are in charge
Yep.
of also like finding top talent, making like big deals happen and so forth. What led to your promotion from COO to CEO?
Yeah. So it was a couple of things. We've kind of had it in the works for a while, where Kevin, our founder, we chatted about this. Hey, someday this would be great if you could take it over. Kevin did a really awesome job building Lean Labs to where it's at. But he's self-admitted that he just likes building things and growing stuff and like doing the founder thing, right? Like when you become a founder of something, it's because you have a very specific way you want something done, and you want to be able to give that to the world. You're more of like a visionary. I come from the side where I'm more of like an operator, where I'm coming in, I'm doing the work, getting things rolling, and with whatever that vision is, I can help achieve it. And so we got to the point where we have a couple other brands that we're looking to build, and so we have Lean Labs as our marketing arm. We have Sprocket Rocket, which is software that we sell to just rapidly build websites on HubSpot. And then we have a newer brand called Get Growth, which is still kind of in its infancy, where it'll become a series of masterminds, depending on what level of growth your company's at. And then we have an accelerator program built into it. And so we really want to put more effort into Get Growth. And so it came time to make the decision. Hey, Kevin's not going to leave the company, but he's going to step aside and become head of growth and just focus on building the brand for Get Growth. And then I step up and I can now manage, Lean Labs, manage Get Growth, and then manage Sprocket Rocket, so that he doesn't have to focus on those things, and we can keep the companies all moving.
I suspect Army folks are one of the best at operating companies in the world. Why do I have this suspicion?
So, yeah, I think there's a YouTube video I watched. Basically, a lot of the bigger, more famous kind of CEOs and stuff. Maybe not the most famous, but right. I don't think Steve Jobs did
No, he was
serving,
visionary.
but,
like no.
Yeah, but a lot of them do have a military background, and but they're usually in an operations role, and then they can step into the CEO role without real issue. And they're, as a operational CEO, they're able to see all of the moving pieces of the company and get people moving in the right direction. So
I was about to make a silly comment. Do you think David Goggins would make a great CEO?
No. I think a lot of people would be miserable.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's great though. I mean, we need David Goggins on this planet Earth for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about your company. Actually, Lean Labs is kind of interesting. I love the name, love the branding. What do you guys do exactly, and what are your objectives for the couple months remaining in this year?
Yeah, so we, like I said, we build websites first. So we like getting clients who need a new website so that we can actually start from the ground up, and we can talk through their messaging. We can make sure, we know all of the customer insights, we know the competitive landscape, and we can pull all those things in, build them a great website, and then start marketing to that website. So we have increased our chances of converting. A lot of the sites that come to us, they have more of like a brochure kind of website, right? Where it's just like they throw up some information and that's it. The stuff we're doing is very tactical, strategic, where we're creating a buyer's journey based on what we know works in SaaS. And so we structure all the websites that way. And now anything we're doing on the marketing side, where, whether it's blog posts, whether we're helping them come up with some of their social strategy, which we really don't touch that on our own. Lead magnets, email marketing, any of that type of stuff, we're able to guide the user to the proper point of the buyer's journey, right? Not everyone's coming to the site at the same level. Some are still building awareness. They don't even know what problem they're actually trying to solve. So we have a page for that, and any of the content that can tie back to that, we're sending them to that page. And now we're putting them on the buyer's journey, because the next logical step from that page is to go into like a paradigm shift. How can you think the way we do? And then how do we go to a page for conversions? Yeah, so we get to process all of that. We're doing conversion rate optimization for the websites. So like we're just constantly looking, how do we tweak this? How do we make it better? So rather than spending a year with a site, realizing something's not working and then building a completely new site, we're just going to keep tweaking and taking steps the entire time.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you only go after B2B SaaS type of companies?
Yeah, so we predominantly work in tech and SaaS for B2B. It's where kind of our sweet spot. It's where we work the best. We have kind of partnered with some joint venture like experts. So big names in like the sales space, in the marketing space. And we've helped them with just building their websites and helping them with structuring some of their plans and stuff. But that's a kind of a newer area we're working in.
Sure. And to me, it looks done for you. Do you also have some done with you? So some coaching combined with some practical work?
Yeah. So actually a majority of what we're doing is done with you. So we've positioned ourselves as a hybrid growth team where, so most companies, right, you can't cash a check for growth. You can't just show up and say, hey, I want this done, give it to me so my company can scale. It doesn't work. You need someone who's committed from both sides in order to make that happen. And so what we do, we'll take a startup who's still in earlier stages, right? They have like problem solution proof. They know they've gotten a couple results because they got some clients. They're getting some visits to their website. And then they're looking for help. How do we take that next step? And so we can come in and we can fill a lot of the roles that they don't have within their company. They might just have a head of marketing. They might not even have someone for marketing. They have a CEO who's doing sales and everything else. But as long as we have a champion in that company who is looking to grow and willing to work with us, we're now able to partner with them and do that. And so while we might be the ones, writing the blog posts, designing the website, building the website, we're still going back to them at every step and saying, what do we need to do here in order for this to be successful, right? Bring in your sales team. We want to hear from the people who are actually talking to your customers and clients. What objections are you getting, right? What questions are people asking so we can get it in their words? So now when we're building the website, we're using those words so people are showing up and just ready to go. And it's the same for like blog content, right? If I know what objections everybody's asking, I can just create content around those objections. And now we just shorten the length of the sales cycle. And so with growth marketing, rather than, traditional marketing, focusing on like awareness and acquisition, get people to the site, convert them on some offer. We're focused on the full spectrum. And so we want to get client results in there. We want to, fill their pipeline. We want to do everything, and we're going to work with them to make that happen. And then the ideal situation is that we help them grow to the point where they hire their own in-house team and they don't need us anymore. That's a success story for us. So,
yeah, I kind of have the same mindset as let him go, at one point, but a bunch of people would say, if you are that good, if you are like that much of an expert, why would you let them go by your own? Isn't it hard to reproduce your mindset, your knowledge base at an agency? Obviously, we cost a lot. Agencies, we cost more than hiring people sometimes, but why let them go?
Yeah. So I'd say, for example, we had one client who we worked with them for years. I think it was last year. We were able to help them grow. Like they hired 150 people in 1 year, and a lot of it, contributing from the stuff that we were able to do for them marketing wise. They still come back to us for plenty of like help with their website and little things like that, and we just do some side projects with them. But the referrals that they have sent us are crazy. They keep giving referrals because anytime someone's like, what would you attribute your success to? And they can be like, well, these guys helped us. And so it makes just a really good story for us to go out and actually help more brands.
True.
Yeah. I mean, that's at some point, it's just like, you can do it on your own. We want you to just go be successful. You got your own team. You know how we do it. Call us if you need some help, but like, we're going to go help some more brands.
How do you research a brand and their market and opportunities that they have ahead of them? Because even if you're in tech, right, it's so broad, can be fintech, edutech, and a bunch of like sub niches. How do you make sure that you're that knowledgeable in each of these micro niche prior to starting a contract?
Yeah, so we have a pretty thorough accelerator program that we put all of our clients through, and we've got like a 200 something slide workbook where we're teaching them stuff, but we're pulling information from them. We're talking through everything, but we never want to be the expert for them. We want, because we partner with them as a hybrid growth team, right? They're going to be helping us as subject matter experts for everything. And so what we're doing is just bringing the marketing expertise to be able to say like, hey, this stuff should work. Let's go test this offer and see what happens. And so we learn a lot with them as we go through some of that. So for example, we got a cybersecurity company right now. The first team members to work with them were team members that we did have on a previous cybersecurity company, because we know they're coming in with a little more industry knowledge so they can pick it up faster, stuff like that. But if you ask any of my team members how to actually implement some of the cybersecurity stuff, like, nobody's going to know how to actually do that, but we can sell it. We can get it in front of people. So
Yeah, for sure. Last but not least, I want to ask, what does your day-to-day look like from personal standpoint? So what habits do you implement in your CEO day to start your day right? Do you get up like quite early? And then what do you do precisely during the day? Is it mostly sales, is it HR? Like, what does a day-to-day look like?
Yeah. I have a variable routine where, I do wake up early. I think it's a habit from the military. I'm spending enough years doing something, you'll end up doing it forever. But I don't really I like getting up and just working. I'll go right to work. Some days if I wake up late, I'll just hang out with my kids until it's time. I'm of the mindset that if you tie yourself too tightly to a routine, then if you don't have that routine, you've now become inefficient throughout the day, right? Those people who they don't have their cup of coffee with a certain creamer, it's like now their day's ruined. And it's like, really, is it though? And so, so I mean, just from like the morning getting started, I do like to work out in the morning, get the blood flowing, get the brain firing in the right direction. I'll usually do some like LinkedIn content and stuff so that I'm just keeping that personal brand growing and driving to drive people to lean less from there. But at work, it's all about setting the conditions. My first thing I'm doing every day is just making sure the team has everything they need. We are still, a small team. So even myself as CEO, I can make sure I'm setting everyone up for success. And so kind of going through certain checks, making sure, budget wise, we're looking good. All of our projects are on track. We have all of our dashboards to look at these things, checking those. And then otherwise, finding opportunities for some more sales, making sure projects are going well, finding ways to over deliver for our clients and talking with the team about how to do that. With Get Growth growing now, we're having a lot of other programs that we're starting. And so I'm taking an active role there as well, with just helping to kick everything off and just aligning the team on how we can, actually do that. And so.
Super cool. Very insightful. Where do you want to take Lean Labs in 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very, very good question. So team-wise, I don't think we're ever going to grow bigger than 30 team members. We really like having this mindset of being the biggest small company ever. And so like with Lean Labs, we won't take on more than 10 clients at a time. 10 clients, we're maxed out. We try growing them. And once we level them up to the point where they're self-sufficient, we can bring in a new client. It means we can command higher rates for what we're doing. And it means I can pay the team a lot more money. And so now I have a team of experts who are all getting paid really well and want to stay. We can build some longevity, into everybody staying, helping there. So when I'm looking at 5 years, I think by then, Get Growth is going to be massive. Sprocket Rocket will be much larger. Lean Labs will still be doing what it's doing, just at a higher level. And so, world domination somewhere in there, maybe 10 years.
Yeah, for sure, man. Where can people find out more about you and Lean Labs?
Yeah, so best place to find me is on LinkedIn, just Chris DuBois. I'll pop up if you look up Lean Labs on there. lean-labs.com. I think we own leanlabs.com as well, so it'll redirect you. Check us out there. If you're interested in any of our like marketing accelerator stuff, go to getgrowth.com, check that out. And if you're looking for a faster way to build websites on HubSpot, sprocketrocket.co.